The Diesel Performance Podcast contains explicit language.
Thank you for joining us. This is Paul Wilson.
And this is Chris Emke.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, want to give a huge shout out to Duramax Tuner. Chris, we've been talking a lot lately about the Stealth 64. The LML turbo is probably one of my favorite ones out of that lineup.
Why is that, Paul?
You know, it's the few that's on the market that's a direct drop-in. Yep. So you don't need a different downpipe. You don't need to reroute your oil lines or coolant lines or anything else. You pull the old turbo out, you drop the new turbo in. That, and I don't know if you've heard it, but the sound is fucking badass.
Yeah, it is freaking bad. It is freaking bad. No, it's a cool turbocharger, drop-in, very simplistic. You don't need all the other add-ons. There are other turbos on the market that is a drop-in, but it's a kit.
Right.
So they offer you a bunch of other parts to make their turbo work. There is no added parts. Pull the old turbo out, drop the new turbo in, some gaskets, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, works great for towing, works great for daily driving. Also, I think here the performance end of it's nothing to scuff at. So
I mean, I like investing money to go fast.
So Stealth 64 for your LML, that's your 2011 to 16 Duramaxes, available at DuramaxTuner.com. Of course, if you want to get more information about that or anything else with Duramax Tuner, give them a call, 815-568-7920. They can get you set up on that. Today, though, I am really excited to share some more information about behind the scenes on one of the most badass trucks in the country.
Yeah. We're proud to bring on Anthony. How are you, Anthony?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. Thanks for joining us.
Living
again.
the dream. We're interviewing you.
yeah, something like that.
Anthony, you've been on the show before, and we've talked about your experience in drag racing and driving the XDP drag truck there. We're going to talk today some more about some of the new kind of setup you guys have going on right now, and of course get into some behind the scenes on Diesel Power Challenge, stuff that you're directly involved with.
Perfect. Great.
Awesome. So first, before we get too far in, you've already told us about your start in diesel. Maybe just remind our listeners, walk us through kind of your history in diesel performance here. What have you done?
I just got my start. It was kind of a hobby that some of my buddies got me into. Just picked up on some of their bad habits and kind of took it from there. I got my start with AirDog. I started at AirDog, I think, around 2007. Worked there for 7 years, sales and marketing manager, and now I've been at XDP for 3 years. I'm handling the wholesale side of things, working with dealers across the country, getting them parts whenever they need it to take care of all their customers.
Awesome, man. Okay, real quick, give us a quick shout out here, kind of a throwback. What was your first time drag racing? What'd you race? And tell us a little bit about it.
My first time drag racing was actually this current truck that we have. I had never been down the drag strip before in my life. It was kind of a joke that I wanted to go nines when I had never been down the drag strip before, but it was a goal we set. I thought we could do it, and we did. My first time down the drag strip was actually interesting. In the staging lanes of Indianapolis at an NHRDA event, and I had Ben Shaddy and Ryan Milliken in front of me. That was 2014. And I'm set to make the first pass I've ever made down a drag strip in this brand new truck, never drove, just got it running, a couple days before, par for the course on this type of stuff. And it was actually the pass that Ryan blew his coolant line off and basally went wall to wall right in front of me. So it was an interesting first trip down. I was like, wow, I could have waited and done that, after I got this first pass out of my belt. But everything went smooth for me. That was my first event. I ended up racing Derek Rose, who ended up, being a good buddy of mine down the road. At the time, I didn't know him. You guys obviously know him well, but that was kind of like my first ever real side-by-side race was him and I. So
no shit.
3 years ago.
And you actually went nines your first time down the strip?
No. First year.
First year. Okay.
Oh, geez. I couldn't imagine going nines the first time down. I don't think my brain could have taken it. The first time I ever launched the truck was kind of in my neighborhood at the time, and I really was skeptical if I could even do it because there was just so much going on. I'm like, wow, these houses are flying by me. But once you get out on the drag strip, everything's kind of pushed back and it's not so fast. But at first I'm like, wow, this is going to be interesting.
And
But
that's real
we
estate
made it.
advice right there. Know your fucking neighbors.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I just lost 20,000 on my house. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Because Anthony Reams moved in down the street. I love it. I love it. Okay. So
I'm out of there now, so they don't have to worry about it.
but you literally just jumped in. I mean, just 2 feet in and dive in. What kind of prep did you do to get yourself ready to get out there and start running this thing?
I really didn't have any. I was confident in, just kind of the operation of the trucks and having a feel for it, of the steering wheel and the throttle. You can just kind of feel how things are working. I had sled pulled plenty before that, the years before that. So I knew there was going to be learning, for sure. I had a lot to learn, but as far as having a concern of not being able to handle the truck, I knew the direction that I needed to go. I knew when I have control of the truck and when I don't. So I started it a couple days before we made our first pass, and I was just winging it. And, it's kind of been the same thing for years to come, and now we're running 8. So.
Drag racing, the easiest sport in America.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there. It's probably the most nerve-wracking in your head with everything that's going on. And, basically when you leave the line, at least my truck, everybody wants to know, how do you drive through this? What do you do? And I'm like, basically the game plan is you want to go straight, and the truck's not going straight. It's going right or left, and you get ready to react whenever you launch, but it's not going straight. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess,
It's been fun.
kind of diving into it, I've followed your truck over a few years. We've had mechanical 12-valve engine, you've had common rail engine. What's the setup of the truck at this point?
Yeah, we've bounced, different directions from the start, working with XDP and all the many sponsors that help us out. We just decided to kind of get to the common rail setup. That's more, up to speed, trying to get away from the smoky 12-valve stuff. So we currently run a common rail motor, 6.7 common rail engine, and we actually just made a switch over, and we're working with Drew from D&J on a motor. He's working a lot of overtime to help XDP, BD, Air Dog, all the sponsors get us back out on the track. We had some ups and downs with some issues and things, so we're just about there. We're about ready to go again.
So now, is this a 6.7? Like, I don't know how much you want to talk or can talk. Is this a deck plate motor? Like, what's the logistics or what's the foundation on that 6.7?
Yeah, it's going to be a 6.7 deck plate motor. We run triple CP3 setup. Nothing real secretive in there. We run triple turbos, triple CP3s. Gosh, what else do you want to know? Deck plate, 1 inch longer. I mean, it's a D&J Enforcer motor, D&J rods and things. Okay. There are pistons and stuff in it. HSP does all the fab work on the turbo piping, and a few other little things for us. There's so many hands in on it that help with a fitting here, or trans coolers from BD. There's so many different people helping in on it, but that's the base of it is a 6.7 deck plate motor.
Now, I know following a couple months ago, not to bring up a touchy subject, but, Ultimate Callout Challenge had some issues turbocharger-wise, things of that nature. So what do you have going into the setup now that you say the truck's getting back up and running? What do you have as far as air supply goes?
Yeah, we ran into a couple little issues there. We XDP, myself, we all busted our butts to get this thing ready. We were optimistic on what we could do, and we ran into a little gremlin that just kind of showed its ass at UCC. Unfortunately, it was just our luck, but we kept shearing the compressor wheels off the turbos, off the manifold chargers. So we moved on to a bigger bodied charger on the manifold to where the shaft's much bigger now. We had an 8899 on the manifold. Now we'll have 102 millimeter on the manifold now.
Holy fuck.
So we got to try and keep these dudes together. So we kind of had some optimistic power numbers that we were looking for, and some of the dyno time that we did, they were a reality. So finding reliability became something that caught us off guard. So think we're there now. We've made the proper changes, and we're getting that all applied right now. Like I'm literally standing at HSP right now, and they're in the back welding on the truck.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, I will say at UCC, I got a chance to walk down in the pits and see you guys tearing at this truck, and I think that's what the real story is here. It was amazing to see, because everybody had an issue at UCC. Everybody's truck had something come up, and a lot of the guys that we were looking for in a big way, trucks just this is a part of the industry. You know, we've talked about it before. But when I walk back in the pit and there's Anthony and 5 other guys, 3 of them with their hands inside the engine bay, 2 of them behind those guys handing them tools or running Sawzalls, and I literally mean just running Sawzalls, chopping shit, like cutting shit, guys yelling at each other. It looked like what you see your wife watch on like ER shows, you know, with like massive surgery going on and people barking orders and like
God.
people just throwing stuff and supply. Who's got channel locks? No, I need bigger ones. Like, pretty sure that was a direct quote. It was fucking awesome, to be honest with you. Like, it was really, really cool to see your guys' level of teamwork and the team that you brought there, and Bainin and everybody else all pitching in, all jumping in. Everybody's covered head to toe in grease. I mean, you guys were still dying to get every last pass in you could, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, my team, and I said it kind of going in, you know, a little bit on social media, you know, I felt going in like I had the coolest team of anybody. And it just kind of showed when we were there. We worked till 3 a.m. the night before to get that truck, you know, finished. We decided we wanted to make a last-minute transmission change, better safe than sorry. Then we ran into all these issues. And, I mean, there was a ton of friends outside of the industry just doing little things, you know. Owners of XDP, Dan, Vice President Paul, all of these guys are in the pits doing a little something, whether it be, I know this fender's got to get wiped off before we go while they get these chargers switched, or, you know, like you said, grab the pliers, grab the Sawzall, which, you know, that happened. Brand new truck we brought out, you know, brand new wrap and everything, and, you know, 10 minutes after, you know, showing itself for the first time, here we are, Sawzalling the hood through the brand new wrap, and Dan made the comment, he just shakes his head and he says, I hate you. I'm like, well, we got to get to the track. So he knows the deal. It's fun to look back. We all hate how it went down. You know, we knew we had more, but we gave it our all, and you know, that wasn't us. We just had bad luck at the wrong time.
Sure, man. Shit happens. You know, it's the competitors that come back to the scene, right, and have their trucks over at HSP right now getting welded on with 102s on the manifold. What do you run for your 2 atmospheric chargers then?
Those are 8899. They're Garrett GT50s, and I have a GT55 on the manifold.
You came the fucking party.
This is an airplane engine it's set up, right?
Yeah.
They're just turbines, you know.
We're so excited to get this thing out. I mean, it's been a hard road this year, you know, especially this was like our follow-up year. We wanted to come out. We had a great year last year, and kind of started off rough, but we're going to end the year with a bang, you know, hopefully, and not an expensive form. So we're going to get this thing done. We're going to get this thing together. When they're done, I'm headed back. We're going to get the engine on the dyno. We're going to get the water injection dialed in, and then it's just a matter of finding out how much the truck can actually get to the ground, because, you know, we can make much, much more horsepower than we can put to the ground. So, you know, people see at UCC, all these people putting, you know, 2,000, 2,500, and engine dynos is, you know, 3,000 horse. Realistically on the track, you see how fast some of us go. We're not on kill. We can't apply all that horsepower. No. That is the biggest struggle in the racing side of things now, is trying to apply all this horsepower that's just kind of, it's unlimited anymore. There's so much horsepower. It's almost like the easy part is making horsepower these days.
It is, absolutely. You know, especially with as technologies advance, there's also a lot more options on how to make that horsepower. It's not just one setup anymore. There's a lot of different options to really get to that same end goal. Tell me about some of the records that have been set with this truck, some of the racing that you've done. You guys have had, like you said, a really successful year last year. What are some of the feathers in the cap for this?
Yeah, last year we had a good year. We went number 1 qualifier at every NHRDA event we went to. We won Denver, which was the $5,000 paycheck. So that was a great one to have.
Nice.
We surpassed or broke or set the ET or mile per hour record at every single event that we attended with NHRDA last year. So,
Wow.
yeah. And then, we wanted to do all of these things, and we got there, and towards the end of the year, we were slowly starting to work some other gremlins out, which gremlins being suspension, trying to get this horsepower we have on tap to the ground. And we went out to Utah for industrial injections event, and we made the first ever 8-second pass in a super street truck. So we went 885 at 157, and the excitement was, it was like I said, it was our ultimate goal. I mean, there was a lot of big goals that we had, but you can do a lot of things, but being the first to do something is not something that can ever be taken away. Somebody can go out and go faster than us, which they've already done this year. And we're 8 nobody had done last year.
Right.
There's 5 trucks now this year that have done it.
Well, I think it's crazy too, because like you said, 855. It's not like you rolled in an 899 and called it 8s. You know what I mean? Which it is. I mean, 8's an 8, right? But I'm sorry, 885. But still, still crushing it by even that margin to get into that area.
It's not like you ran an 899.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like you guys are shaving it, like really getting it down there.
Yeah, we were. We all worked hard. I mean, we worked hard to get there, and we were just hoping like heck. Wade and Mentor came so close a couple times. Actually, we set the NHRDA record in St. Louis. We set the NHRDA record, but we lost the race. Buchheiter put a 902 on us, which was like, holy hell, where did that come from, And then I think it was 2 weeks later, Mentor went out and went 2 900s, and so the record was gone. So it was like short-lived. I'm like, I'm a hero right now, and I'm stud one day, dud, 2 weeks later. So, the Super Street field it's awesome. I mean, we have a great time together. We're all buddies. We all text about what we're doing. We point fingers at each other for every time one of us blows something up. I blame Buchheiter for me blowing my last motor up because he went out and went 902 on me, and I couldn't let that happen again. It's a good time. We have a blast.
It is. It does really seem to be a community among the racers, because honestly, we don't really get many of the rivalries there in this industry.
No.
We get them a lot in sled pulling, right? Like that seems to be a lot of poking at each other. But racers do for the most part seem to get along, which has always kind of surprised me.
Smaller niche.
Yeah, fair
we
enough.
Argue. We argue in a serious manner too. We one day we're drinking a beer, the next day we're cussing at each other via text or something. But at the end of the day, we all look out for each other, our safety, and what's best for the class and growing the sport too. So
I would consider that motivational shit talking.
Yeah, it is. Trust me. Try being on the sideline so far this year, watching these guys go 8, knowing what we can do, and I can't do a damn thing about it right now. So they know we're coming after them. So.
I love it. Okay, well, after a quick word from our sponsors, we're going to come back and ask you a little bit more about the Diesel Power Challenge and how you and the guys over at XDP got involved with that over the last several years here.
I'm Nick with Callout Power Solutions, the leading North American developer of clean diesel power and home of DuramaxTuner.com. I want to tell you about our Duramax Power Packs, the DT530 for the LB7, LLY, and LBZ. These power packs come with all the parts you need to make a safe, reliable 530 horsepower, including our DT750 built transmission. If you want to take your truck to the next level, 650 horsepower or higher, everything you bought in the DT530 power pack will give you the platform to build on, so you won't have to replace anything or spend your money twice. For more information, check out DuramaxTuner.com, click on the truck, and then select a power pack, or call 815-568-7920. Again, that's 815-568-7920.
All right, and so we're back with Anthony Reams. Chris and I have been talking to him about his truck, about the NHRDA, about just racing in general. And now we wanted to take a second to talk about the Diesel Power Challenge. Now, Anthony, we all know XDP sponsors the event real heavily. It has always been involved in a big way on the media side. Tell me, how do you play into that?
Yeah, so what I do at XDP is I deal with dealers, all the shops around the nation that sell parts. We distribute those parts to them so they can sell it to their end customer, and the Diesel Power Challenge ties into that because a lot of the competitors that are a part of that either own shops or have shops at the event helping them
Now, back
through
to the podcast.
event, or they're helping them get the trucks built. So my side of things is I step in, I make new friends, I make new dealers, I hang out with those guys, I help them before the event if they need parts, and it usually turns into a good relationship after, to where we start doing a lot of business together. So that's my direct focus when it comes to Diesel Power Challenge and XDP. But when I do go out there, they usually end up sending me with a camera, and I'm out here acting like I know what I'm doing with the camera. But that's like secondary to out there actually drawing up business, building work relationships as well.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay. Let's talk about the Diesel Power Challenge. Over the years, we've seen quite a bit of change with it.
There's been, I've been following this stuff for going on 6-7 years. And like you had said, from where it was 6-7 years ago till now, not so much the testing and stuff like that, but there has been, that.
Well, I think there's definitely a
if it's
difference
the
in the level of
progression,
competition.
right? The progression, though, in the sport.
Yeah, I think some of that. I think the limit on winning, repeat wins and things like that, and basically outlawing Levon from the Diesel Power Challenge,
Blacklisted.
and
Who's that?
and now
Levon who?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Well, he's one of those guys running 8s, Anthony. Sorry, dude. That was the motivational shit talking.
Right after
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but we've seen it. So as we start to limit people who have repeat wins, and does that limit the competition? Does that limit how fast? We've never seen anybody go 8s at Diesel Power Challenge. No. Granted, it just happened this year, but do you really think any of the trucks that got voted in are anywhere close to going 8s at this point?
No, not, the weights and stuff that they have. Now you're trying to cross over into kind of like UCC type stuff. And you're going to have, if you went into an event like UCC with 8 trucks, it's probably not going to be a very good showing because, stuff's on kill. Diesel Power Challenge, don't get me wrong, they're making some good numbers and stuff, but you're talking about streetable, realistic, I can build that kind of truck type of thing. I don't need to be a race shop or a manufacturer to build it. And those guys do awesome. You're talking about parts that they can buy from XDP and bolt it on and compete and do well. And it's no joke. That competition is tough. They beat on stuff just as hard as anybody in any competition. And the big jokes, Fords are usually the underdogs, but look what Keeter did.
Yeah, right.
Keeter won that thing 2 years in a row.
No shit.
That's a competitive event for everybody. Every truck coming in there, no matter who makes it, has a chance to win. Who would ever thought a Ford would win the Diesel Power Challenge? But now he's a repeat winner.
Right, and a 6 liter.
Yeah,
and a 6 liter. Who would have thought? Well, even some of the other guys, we got to interview some of the other guys and throwing a 12 valve together in 2 weeks once you're sure you get voted in. I guess that's my one drawback on the challenge is during the voting, I really wish that there was some sort of proof that this truck was together. And I'm not voting on somebody's concept.
Right.
There's so many of them. I think that's the one complaint I've always had about the challenge is if this is the build, this is the build, and if you have this truck and it's proven and now we're taking to test it. But when I'm voting on somebody's idea, I guess it hasn't burnt me though. Maybe we've seen just a few alternates throughout the years who have at the last minute popped up and been the ones to compete right off the bat.
I think another thing too is a lot of people say that this event plays favoritism and that you have to be someone to get in. I've seen a lot of people that are very well known on social media that don't get voted in.
Yeah,
over the last couple of years.
How many guys out of Wisconsin this year?
Right, I didn't even know half of them.
Right, yeah. Five guys out of Wisconsin. That's our area. That's our neck of the woods.
Right.
And I maybe recognized one name from social media. So
and there was a lot. This year's Diesel Power Challenge was, something that we talked about with XDP. Man, look at the entries for Diesel Power Challenge this year. This could be huge for XDP. Parts that we manufacture and sell. Look at all these potential people we can get our foot in the door in, and build this relationship over it. And then when the list came out, I was like, wow, all the people that I was like, well, he's a lock, weren't even in the running. There weren't even alternates, and it was really interesting to see it. But it was still a great event.
It was very eventful.
It's not like they left all the good stuff out and it was a bad show. but some of the more popular people were left out, and it was still a badass show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the competition is tough, man. I really can't imagine willingly putting my daily driver through those events.
No.
I mean, I guess I would to be in the Diesel Power Challenge, right? Like, because it's that cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like to actually use your truck like that, I mean, trailer drag racing,
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
rowdy. That's just a
There's
rowdy
a lot of
idea.
things I
Not
would never
tweaked.
imagine that I would have done to my truck that I'm doing now. Like UCC, no chance, and then they come calling and give you that invite, and ta-da, there you are.
But that, and I think this is we start to look at, this industry and how it shapes up. We talked to a lot of guys with sled pulling. We talked to a lot of guys with drag racing. Now UCC and Diesel Power Challenge. There's a kind of a place for everybody depending on what you want to do. Even now with a lot of the smaller stuff going on with Beanfield racing, the dirt drags.
The dirt drags. But I would say like the UCC, I think when the UCC came, to be what it is, it kind of did set that standard to where the Diesel Power Challenge is more of that enthusiast competition.
Right.
That end user, daily driver. I mean, a daily driver 1,000-horse truck is a normal thing these days now.
It is.
And those are the trucks that are going to these events, which makes it if the truck can stay together and you can drive it, you have a very good potential to win.
Well, I think that's kind of why we needed the Ultimate Callout Challenge in this
Absolutely.
industry is to let's see the biggest shops. Let's see the people who really aren't necessarily budget conscious when they're putting
Right.
their builds together. Let's see what these guys are doing. How badass, how big, how powerful.
Yep.
There's still always questions, though. Where is the UCC going to evolve? What rules are we going to see next year
Right.
that are going to impact it? What do you think, Anthony, from one of the people who actually went there and competed? What would you like to see different about the UCC in 2018?
All these events can always be, it doesn't matter what event it is, they can always be fine-tuned. And it's hard to tell. Do I think that needs to change because that fits me better, or does that actually fit the industry and the competitors, and does it make people want to watch the event more? So my side of things, I have my opinions, and I share some of them. But at the end of the day, we all have the same rules, and it is what it is. I'm gonna have to race within my means and my pocketbook, and those that support me. And that's that. So I know I have more support than a lot of people. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've got it so hard, yada, yada. I know some people that are working out of their own pockets that are doing some of the same stuff that we're doing. And
Sure.
It's just, I usually try and keep in mind what is actually better for the sport. What is going to get more trucks into this field? How can we get a 15 or 20 truck field in Super Street? Not 4 or 5 that were all fast, but coin flip, transmission's probably going to take a shit before the end of the day. That's really where it is now. I think it's one of those things that we all know the power and everything's there. It's, how can we actually grow these events? And the UCC, we're 2 years in. They're going to have to listen. They're going to have to listen to racers. They're going to have to listen to sponsors, on what they can do better and take them all into consideration. But me particularly, I honestly, I don't have an opinion right now. There's some organization side of things, but as far as rules and stuff, I haven't even had time to sit and think what I would like to see different, and I don't worry too awful much about it because when it comes down to it, I'm going to run the same rules as everyone else. So.
Right. I guess that is one thing I would love to see in 2018 is a little bit more test time for all of the competitors, to hopefully encourage to get the trucks more dialed in for the actual event, right? Because when you have trucks go down, that's always going to happen. You can't really plan for it. But I feel like, and I don't know if that's just, it's the second year competitors. Look at us. We blew up an engine over at Calibrated Power 3 days before the event because that was one of our first dyno runs with it all together. Yep. You know what I mean? It's not like nobody who went to UCC had a truck totally together 2 months before and was out racing it and like, oh yeah, UCC's coming up. Everybody worked on it right up until the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, you bring that up. That's one of the things that fits me better is the time frame of it. I would prefer to have it at the end of the year. So my important side of things is going drag racing for, sponsors, MBRP and Suncoast and all these other guys that also help me. But with that said, what if I shell a motor or I'm out of money by the end of the year and I can't make UCC?
Right. Right.
There's so much going on. There's organizations, there's shop events, open house type things that you want to go support people, and me specifically, XDP on the wholesale side, we want to show support for our dealers and stuff as much as we can. But, a few years ago, you'd usually squeeze an event into October. Now, October's full. Now you're talking about November, and how far do we have to go to get warm to race?
I was going to say, being XDP being based out of New Jersey, I'm sure that's really exciting for everybody. Now you're remote though, aren't you?
He's in Missouri.
Yeah, I'm just to the west of you in that Republican state of Missouri.
The great state.
Show it to me on a map. Okay, but you're in Missouri, so I guess the travel for you to get south in the winter, because NHRDA, no races over the winter, correct?
No, they usually kick off, I think, in March, and World Finals is in either late September or early October, just kind of varies. And he throws some, like Rudy's is in his fall event in October usually. They switch them up for the, here and there, depending on weather and the good run of bad luck that some of them have. So,
sure.
But yeah, usually, you used to race, the start of the year started with TS, like that's when the season started. It used to be like that. TS was May or June, and by the time you hit Shides at the end of August, you're trying to hit in some fill-in events. Yeah. Now it's, you start racing in March, like full tilt racing, points races, and you finish up in November. So it's like you get 3 months off, and it's back to racing, and it makes it tough. It makes it tough to figure out a schedule. Do you want to race points? Do you want to do UCCs and diesel power challenges and all of these other events that are getting great attention? I mean, they all get magazines and whatnot. They're all over the place, but it's hard to juggle all of them, and sometimes you can't make it to all of them.
Right.
It's almost as if you need 2 trucks now.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I believe you when you said that.
Yeah, not an option. I am one keeps me busy enough. I am going to spend my 10-year wedding anniversary on Wednesday in Michigan, while my wife is at home with a 10-month-old newborn and our 4-year-old daughter by herself. So 2 trucks would ensure she's going to end up keeping one, and I'll get what's left.
And she has the kids. I just want to
exactly. Yeah, so 2's not an option.
Well, congratulations, and it sounds like good luck.
Yeah, wish you the best.
I got back from a 2-day trip with a wife and a newborn at home, and it was
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was
fun.
great. It was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Everything was awesome. Okay, well, Anthony, I'll tell you what, man. I really appreciate you taking out so much time. We know how busy you are with everything. So to take time out while you're over there at the shop, we really just want to say thank you to you and all the guys over at XDP for joining us again on the podcast. Any shout-outs you want to give today before we let you off the phone?
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of people that helped, on the race truck that we talked about, Air Dogs, BD, MBRP, Titan Fuel Tanks, Suncoast, Yukon. There's so many. Edge Products, Autometer, AFE. Those guys all help us on the race team to get things going. So we're gonna give it back to those guys. We had, like I said, a long season so far, but we're gonna come back out and we're gonna hit it hard. And Diesel Power Challenge stuff. Anybody's looking for Diesel Power Challenge stuff, we're the exclusive distributor for that stuff. Get on XDP.com. Lots of parts, lots of accessories, but all your Diesel Power Challenge gear is available right there exclusively through XDP.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. This has been Paul Wilson.
And this is Chris Emke. Thank you for listening.
Calibrated Power Solutions, the leading North American developer of clean diesel power and home of DuramaxTuner.com, is the proud sponsor of the Diesel Performance Podcast. Calibrated Power develops emissions and quick tunes for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, Jeep, John Deere, and many more. For more information and the best customer service in the industry, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920.
102s on the manifold. What do you run for your two atmospheric chargers then?
Those are 8899. They're Garrett GT50s, and I have a GT55 on the manifold.
You came the fucking party.
This is an airplane engine it's set up, right?
Yeah.
They're just turbines,
Where-
you know.